Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. My name is Liam Kenny, and welcome back to. I think this is probably one of the first severe weather outbreak live coverages that I've done this year. Most of you know that over the last several weeks or so, I've been working on getting my new recording studio set up where I'll be able to do green screen videos and also do more live streams just like I'm doing right now. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this live stream. I'm going to try and be on here as long as I can, depending on how well my computer is working and everything else like that. Please know that if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the live stream, have any questions about what's going on as far as this outbreak goes, or anything else about my channel or myself, feel free to leave those comments or questions down in the live chat. I'm monitoring it on my other computer, actually, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, comments, or concerns you might have. So let me go ahead and switch off the radar here and just show you exactly the area that we're watching for. You can see right here in this red area, this is where the Storm Prediction Center has put out a rare moderate 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather. This includes portions of eastern Nebraska and northeastern Kansas as well. This includes Beatrice, Falls City, Lincoln, York, Stewart, Topeka, all these different areas in the red. You have the best shot for severe weather over the course of the night tonight. As you work your way outside the red, you're going to go into the orange. That is going to be your enhanced 3 out of 5 risk. That includes Kansas City, Wichita, Emporia, Salina, Columbus, Omaha, Lincoln, down to Joplin, all the way southward, almost to Tulsa as well. So this is a huge area that is going to be in that enhanced risk as well. As you work your way into the yellow, that's going to be your slight risk. That includes all the areas I just mentioned, as well as Norton, McCook, Oklahoma City, Ada, Joplin, Trenton, all those different areas that I just mentioned. And last but not least, as you work your way into the marginal risk, that's going to be your darkest green color. That includes Wichita Falls, all the locations I've already mentioned, Fayetteville, Springfield, Columbia, Des Moines, Iowa, North Platte, Garden City. So many different areas are in this outbreak as well. I'll go ahead and turn back on the radar, and you can clearly see that this is the whole entire area where the storms are currently firing up right now. However, this is the area that the Storm Prediction Center is most concerned about for this outbreak to happen. And the reason for that is because you've got a very strong upper level low that is right here over, I would say, eastern Colorado, western Nebraska, and western Kansas as well. And on the front side of this, you've got a warm front, and at ahead of the warm front, all of this air right here across the states of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, all states across the Central Plains and Midwest. They're located in the warm and moist sector. The atmosphere is so fired up right now, has all the right ingredients for severe weather to form. It has plenty of CAPE, which is convective available potential energy, basically telling us how much energy is in the atmosphere for thunderstorms to form. You've got a southerly wind coming here out of the Gulf of Mexico, but then on the backside of this, you've got a southwesterly wind. And whenever you have one wind current going to the north and one wind current coming out of the southwest, those wind currents kind of touch each other and they create spin in the atmosphere. And whenever we get spin in the atmosphere, that can cause these supercells to start to rotate, and then we do get tornado warnings issued. And then last but not least, after that, we get tornadoes to form. So it's a whole, complex, setup that we have here in order for these storms to form. As you can see, we already have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings out, one tornado warning. Also, not to mention, anywhere where you see these green triangles, that is indicating hail are already being produced, and this, outbreak is just starting to begin. So let's go ahead and switch over to a more high-tech radar, and this will be telling us exactly a little bit better look, or this will give us a little bit better look at these cells in general. Let's go ahead and first take a look here at our tornado warning. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Bring this over here. Not exactly sure why you can't see that. Give me just a second here. Come on. Alrighty, that should work a little bit better there. Alrighty. There we go. Now you can see it. Alrighty, so this warning says at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was capable of producing a tornado. Is located near Axtell or 17 miles east of Holdridge, moving east at 15 miles per hour. Notice how it says tornado and hail up to 2 inches in diameter. That is extremely, extremely dangerous. Whether or not there's a tornado or not, please be seeking shelter. This hail on top of this tornado is absolutely nothing you want to mess with. I can promise you that right now. But let me go ahead and get my Epic pen up here so I can draw. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rotation signature and see exactly where our area of rotation is. So the area of rotation is going to be right in this general vicinity right here. The radar site is back here right near Blue Hill, which means that you've got green winds blowing towards the radar back on the western side. And along with that, you've got the red colors indicating winds blowing northeast on this eastern side. So exactly right where the reds and the greens are touching each other, that is where the area of rotation is. Thankfully, whenever we have these tornado warnings, we kind of look for the colors to be brighter whenever they're as close together as they are, and that would indicate stronger winds. But thankfully, where they are kind of coming together, the colors are not very bright, and that means that the rotation is not very strong. Say the colors were brighter next to each other, that would indicate stronger rotation within the different layers of the atmosphere. But the fact that we do not have that is a good sign. We don't want to see any of those colors getting close together at all, which is a very good thing. Another radar we use is called the storm relative velocity. This pretty much takes out the storm's motion and just shows us how strong the winds are actually in the cell. So in case you did not know that, you can see right here on my product side, you've got the base velocity, which is BV. This is pretty much this pretty much takes account the storm's motion along with the actual winds inside of the supercell itself. However, the storm relative velocity pretty much takes out the storm's motion and just tells us how strong the winds are within a cell. And this particular radar, storm relative velocity, is very, very useful, especially when looking at cells that are moving very, very fast. A lot of times when you have cells that are moving very, very fast, it can be hard at times to tell on the velocity radar how strong the winds are actually blowing. But once we go over to this radar, it takes out that storm motion and just tells us exactly what is going on within the supercell itself. So it is a very useful radar to use, especially when we have very fast-moving supercells. Even though this storm really isn't moving that fast, you can see it's only moving east at 15 miles per hour. It still can give us, a little bit better look at the velocity signature itself as well. And last but not least, whenever we're trying to confirm tornadoes on radar, we use something called the correlation coefficient, which pretty much sends out a beam and tries to find anything in the storm that is flying that is not a type of precipitation. For example, it tries to find anything like dirt, roofs, trees, really anything that would be called debris whenever you're talking about a tornado. And if we do see any of that on the radar, it's actually going to come up in a different color than purple. Obviously, you can see that there's plenty of different colors right in here, but you really look for something that particularly stands out. And pretty much this stands out to me right here. You can kind of see that this is a little area of blue right here just to the west of Keene, and that is a possible area of debris. Now, we can't really confirm that until we see exactly where it is in regards to the rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up two beams here, and you can clearly see that here's your area of rotation right here, but our debris ball is just to the west of Keene over here. So that means that we cannot confirm a tornado using radar within this particular supercell. Now, obviously, if the debris ball, which I just showed you right here, if that was somewhat closer to our area of rotation, then we could say, oh, there's some debris showing up on the radar, next to the area of rotation. This could be a tornado. But the fact of the matter is that the area of debris on the correlation coefficient is nowhere close to that area of rotation. So that means that we cannot confirm a tornado by using these radars right here. And last but not least, on top of all of that, I'm going to go back over here to the base on rotation, and you can clearly see that there is a hook forming within this supercell. And pretty much what this means is you've got winds that are being sucked into the system on this side. You can clearly see, kind of how they're being sucked into the area with a storm right in this general area, and then they're pretty much being spit out by the system on this particular end right here. And that is pretty much called the inflow and the outflow boundary. The storm's got winds that are blowing inside of it here on this eastern side, while on the back side, on the western side, you've got winds blowing outside pretty much right near Keene. And that pretty much forms this little hook signature that we look for, whenever trying to confirm a tornado. Usually whenever we have a hook associated within a supercell that has a tornado, your tornado is going to be somewhere right on the tip of that hook right there. And still, the fact of the matter is that the rotation is not very strong right here on the velocity radar, so there's no signs of a tornado moving on the ground at this moment in time, but this is still obviously a tornado warning storm. So whether or not there is a tornado rotating on the ground, please be sure that if you are in this warning, you get to the lowest building or lowest floor of the building that you are currently in. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, particularly a bathroom or a closet. Put a helmet on your head, put a pillow, a mattress over your head, get your shoes on, and then go into that most interior room, particularly a bathroom or a closet. Take your phone in there. If you have a NOAA weather radio, just like I have right here, take that in there with you as well, so that way you can hear what the National Weather Service is saying about that particular storm. It's really a great thing to have, especially when severe weather strikes as well. Once again, if any of you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave those down in the live chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer those for you right here on the live. Let me zoom out here and take a look at some of the other cells that I'm currently watching. This line I'm watching very, very closely. As you can see, it has multiple different severe thunderstorm warnings on it. Thankfully, right now, there's only one tornado warning. However, you can see that within this most southern warned storm, we do have 2 reports of tornadoes, which means that this outbreak is already proven to be a tornado-worthy outbreak. So please let that be a sign of what is potentially to come over the rest of the night tonight. Another radar that I like to use also whenever I'm doing these live streams, you go over here to Radar Scope. There's a particular radar called the hydrometer classification. This pretty much tells us exactly what different types of precipitation is going to be on the radar. I know you can't see it because it's below my news bar, but actually no, you can see it a little bit. Let me go ahead and move this up for you a little bit. There you go. So as you can see right here on our spectrum right here, you've got the darker red, which is indicating hail mixed with rain. The darker red, which means that there's large hail. And last but not least, this yellow means giant hail. If I zoom in on this radar, you can clearly see that there is a ton of very dark red and yellow, indicating extremely large hail. We're probably talking about hail, ping pong, tennis ball, baseball size hail possible. And let me tell you, that can produce an extensive amount of damage, especially to roofs and cars as well. Thankfully, I have never witnessed a hailstorm of that magnitude, but let me tell you, I have seen plenty of pictures on it on the web, and I'm sure you have as well. You do not want to mess with baseball and softball size hail. That stuff is absolutely just nasty to mess with. Whether or not there's any hail, there is an extremely good amount of lighting within the system, and as you can tell, extremely heavy rain. So please be sure that if you were in this warning, honestly, I would shelter within this warning as if it was a tornado warning. Get to that lowest floor of the building that you were currently in. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, particularly a bathroom or a closet. Let me actually go back over to GR2, see if I can see how much lightning is being associated within these. Once it wants to load. Yeah, you can clearly see that there is a good bit of lightning within all of these cells. Wait for that to turn on. Once again, my computer is surprisingly slow during these outbreaks. It's never slow during my actual regular, videos, but whenever I do these lives, it's always somewhat slow. I'm hoping to get a new computer soon. That'll allow me to do coverage a little bit better here. Let's work our way now down into central western Kansas and take a look at this current severe thunderstorm warning that we have right now. As you can see, it is just absolutely engulfed with lightning right here. I'm actually going to zoom in on some of these lightning strikes, and you can see how they're different colors within this radar. This is called GR2. It's one of the most high. I would probably say this is the most high tech radar software there is on the planet. In case there's any weather enthusiasts that are watching this live stream and curious about this, you can get this, I think it's a free trial for like 7 or 21 days, and then after that, you do pay one permanent fee of $250. I know it's a little pricey, but that is not a monthly fee. That is a permanent lifetime fee. You pay the $250, and it's all good to go. And while we wait for my radar software to load, I actually do want to go back over to GR Earth and show you here the satellite imagery of what this whole entire system looks like. Once again, you can clearly see, let me get back my pen out. Here's your upper level somewhere across the Great Plains. Here's your dry line right here. That is pretty much the separation of the very warm and moist air out ahead of the front and the very cold and dry air coming in on the back side of this. So you can clearly see that right here where that dry line is going to be touching. That's the area where the Storm Prediction Center has put out that moderate risk right in there. And also, not to mention, let me go ahead and turn this off. You can clearly see that here's your line of storms right here. This is where we have the most convection or the biggest thunderstorms currently firing up within the atmosphere. This infrared satellite pretty much tells us how much thunderstorm activity is going on in the atmosphere. Pretty much all this is just clouds right here, but as soon as you start getting into this orange and this red, that is indicating very large and dangerous thunderstorms firing up in the atmosphere as well. Not to mention, I can go ahead and turn on the water vapor imagery, and you can just tell there is a ton of atmospheric moisture right in here. Not to mention, once again, there's your dry line right there. So much dry air is coming in behind the system across the Central Plains, and not only will that push some of the severe weather out of here, but it will also lead to a very high fire, wildfire threat. So if you live across anywhere from Mexico into southern Arizona, eastern New Mexico, the whole entire western portion of Texas, into the western portion of Oklahoma, please be sure that if you were doing any fires tonight for Friday night bonfires or anything else like that, please be sure that it is controlled and you have a fire extinguisher on hand, considering how dry this atmosphere is. I mean, this is just absolutely bone dry. You can see here in my spectrum, this is the most driest part of the spectrum, and we have just nothing but extremely dry air across this whole entire sector. So this is going to be a very nasty system. Obviously, number one, for the severe weather that it'll bring, but also not to mention all the dry air and fire weather threat it'll be bringing as well. Alrighty, now that my radar has finally loaded, you can clearly see that this particular cell has a ton of lightning in it with it right here. Let me actually go ahead and see exactly why they issued this warning here. There's a particular warning, there's a particular reason within every cell why the National Weather Service does issue this warning. Okay, we got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. That is not a good sign. And once again, I can go back over to radar scope. Let me go ahead and switch over to one panel here. Go ahead and switch down to this radar site whenever it starts to load up. Here we go. Once again, I can go over here to our hydrometer classification. And this radar site is not giving us a very good look at the hail signature. Let's go ahead and take a look at, probably this radar site's going to be best. It's the closest one to it. Okay, so as of right now, none of the radar sites that are within view of this particular cell are showing any hail. But as you just saw, let me go back over here to GR Analyst. The National Weather Service is clearly saying that there is nickel-sized hail. So whether or not we see it on the radar, know that the National Weather Service is saying that there is hail. So it's not like we have to have any more confirmation. Once the NWS confirms it, we know it's a big deal. So please be sure that if you were in this warning, once again, please be sure to be taking cover. Treat this as if it was a tornado warning. This includes northeastern Ness County in western Kansas, Trego County in west central Kansas, northwestern Rush County in central Kansas, as well as Ellis County in central Kansas as well. If you are in any of those counties that I just mentioned, please be sure to be taking shelter immediately. Hey, Peyton Morris, what's up? And not to mention, you can clearly see that these storms are just absolutely engulfed with lightning. Over 1,000 lightning strikes within this cell, and this cell as well. So these storms are just electric. Let's go ahead and take another look here at our one and only tornado warning. See if the rotation signature has gotten any better. Wow, look at this lightning. Over 2,500 lightning strikes, and this whole line is just absolutely engulfed with lightning, not to mention this whole line as well. These storms are just electric. Once my radar here decides to load. Also, if you're brand new to my channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and also like the live stream so that way you can help me get this video or this live stream out to more people on YouTube. Wow, look at this line of storms, ladies and gentlemen. This is just insane. Still not seeing a very pronounced area of rotation within this particular supercell. I think that if there's any of it, it's probably going to have to be somewhere right in there where the green is next to the red. Nothing much. I'm just sitting back and watching these storms along with you. Can't believe Oklahoma has the chance to see DVD-sized hail this evening. That's 5 inches in diameter. Wow, that's incredible. It's going to be an active night for sure. You know, whenever they issue at least a slight risk, nonetheless a moderate risk, it's telling you something. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, even though we have a moderate risk, let me go back over here to GR Earth. Any time we even have just this yellow slight risk, there could be the chance for damaging wind gusts, hail, as well as tornadoes. So we don't even have to have this moderate to enhanced risk. Look at all these warnings. Goodness gracious. And let me also show you the model here. Let me go over to the different model runs here. This is the HRRR model. This is the best model to use for short term. Once my thing wants to load. And you can clearly see that all these storms are currently within, geez, that's a terrible drawing, within this general vicinity right here, and they're all heading this way. So that is exactly why that this particular area right in there, that's exactly where our moderate and our enhanced risk is. So let me go ahead and play this future radar out for you, and you can clearly see that over the next several hours, all these cells are going into a very unstable atmosphere. There's plenty of energy for severe storms to form. I mean, you can see within the next 4 to 5 hours, you have an extremely dangerous squall line. Not to mention, this model can sometimes overdo things. But look right here, you can even see that these storms are even picking up some hail right in and near the Abilene area. And this is just one model run. I guarantee you that multiple different models are showing the exact same thing. And not to mention, look at this line that just forms. This whole entire area needs to be extremely on high concern as this line comes through. And given the fact that the one tornado warning that we have is only moving at 15 miles per hour, that tells you that this is not going to be something that hits you for about 15 to 20 minutes and then is out of here. This is going to be with us all night long into the overnight hours. So this is going to be a nocturnal event over the overnight hours. And also, I want you to know that even if you're in this particular area right here, only in that marginal, slight, and enhanced risk, all this is going to be heading right in your area. And let me remind you once again, our upper level low is somewhere over here. Here's your cold front and dry line back here, but our warm front is still way up here across the Midwest. That means that anywhere in this area right there, this whole entire section that I just drew on your screen is extremely highly favorable for these supercells to develop over the course of the night tonight. We've got plenty of cape, plenty of instability, plenty of change in wind directions. We have got it all on the table, and we have all the right ingredients we need for a severe weather outbreak or event to take place, okay? So please know that whether you are in the marginal, slight, moderate, enhanced, no matter what risk you're in, please be sure that if you are in any of this area that I just drew, that you are extremely weather aware tonight. Have multiple ways to get warnings. Make sure that you have all your mobile devices charged so that way you have a way to get those warnings. Have a plan in place. Know where to go. God forbid you do get a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, a severe thunderstorm watch, a severe thunderstorm warning. Any warnings at all, even if it's just a special weather statement or a flash flood warning, please be sure that you drop everything that you're doing as soon as you get that warning and take action immediately. Trust me, it is not worth the risk trying to, save, anything in your house. Nothing in your house is more important than your own life. Everything in the world can be replaced except for human lives, okay? Trust me, I know it's going to be hard if your house gets, torn apart or, blown off its foundation or ripped to shreds, but you're still alive and you can still live, okay? I know it's still a very hard time, but trust me, it is way better to, stay on this earth and rebuild than to leave this earth and not be able to rebuild, okay? Obviously, I've never dealt with something like this, but I'm telling you right now, I know from what I've heard in my 5 to 6 years of studying meteorology and covering these outbreaks, it's not worth spending that extra 1 or 2 minutes and trying to gather those last valuables. Get the heck out of your house. Go to a friend's house, a colleague's house, a coworker's house, and stay there, especially if they're in that safe area until it is safe to get out. Once again, this is going to be an all-night event going into western Missouri and eastern Arkansas, and western Arkansas. Not to mention, you can clearly see that after this squall line is already done with Kansas and Nebraska, you've got another full-blown squall line that is forming right here in southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, western Missouri, probably even into portions of Arkansas, and then eventually into eastern Iowa, and then eventually the Ohio Valley as well. So really, I'm going to zoom out here, and if you really live anywhere in this area right here, all of this is going to be heading directly northeast into your direction within, I would say, the next, depending on where you live, if you live in this area, probably it'll be heading into your area sometime in between maybe the morning hours tomorrow morning. But if you live somewhere in this area right here, this is going to be probably in and around your area, probably in between midnight and 3 a.m. in the morning. And also, within these cells, sometimes they have been known to be fast moving, but as I just showed you about 15 to 25 minutes ago, the one and only tornado one that we have was only moving east at 15 miles per hour. Usually within some of these cells, they're moving at least, 35 to 40 miles per hour. That's not the case within these particular cells. This is not just going to be, I get one system or I get one cell that affects me for, 10, 15 minutes and I'm done. This is probably going to be with you for at least a half an hour to 45 minutes, if not more than that, okay? This is not just going to be a fast movie. This is going to be with us for a while, which is not good at all. Even more so for you to have a plan in place over the night tonight. So once again, I'll backtrack this, and you can clearly see this just absolutely blows up over the next several hours or so. And I'm going to go over to a different model. This is the NAM model. This is pretty much a little bit better look here, more long-term. But once again, I cannot stress this enough. Let me go back a couple of hours once this thing wants to start loading. I do want to mention real fast that this model sometimes tends to overdo what the actual radar will look like. So just because you've got this full-blown squall line right here that looks extremely dangerous does not mean that this will 100% happen. And that's pretty much the case with all models. But this particular model does tend to overdo the model guidance quite a bit. And even if we don't have a necessarily particular, perfect linear squall line, any of these cells right here, whether it's these very small cells over here by my animation pane, or if it's this whole entire squall line right here, anywhere you see, precipitation showing up, that is where conditions are favorable for severe weather cells to fire up. Give me just 1 second. My father is calling me. I will be right back with you. Alrighty, I am back. I apologize for that. Parents, you know. Anyways, as I was saying, please be sure that you are on extreme high alert all night tonight. Let me go back to this model run and finish what I was saying here. This is 11 hours out, which pretty much means that, let's see, it's 7 o'clock Eastern now. 9, 10, 11, 12, excuse me, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, which means that this is going to be around 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning for Central Time. Look at this whole entire squall line right here that could be happening probably as you're waking up, especially if you're not a morning person like I am. This could be what you're waking up in for in Emporia, Topeka, really anywhere from Joplin, Missouri northward, probably all the way up to Des Moines, if not more north than that. So this is going to be a very dangerous night for so many different people across this particular area. Not to mention all the different hail reports that we currently have. We've got an inch and 14. We got 1.14 inch size hail with this one. Just over a half an inch with this one. Just under a half an inch with this one. About just under a quarter of an inch with this one. Just under 1 full inch with that one. And not to mention, whether or not you're getting hail or not, these all are producing extremely strong winds, heavy rain, and also the potential for tornadoes as well. Love how my computer just randomly shuts down whenever I'm not looking. These computers that they give us at school are so trash. And now I gotta restart the whole thing. Alrighty, give me just 1 second to get my computer up and running, and then I'll be back on here. Okay, come on, computer. We all know you want to load. Thankfully, right now, that one tornado warning that we did have, you can clearly see that the red box went away, which is indicating that it did, was able to expire or got canceled by the storm prediction, or by the National Weather Service, excuse me. Once this stupid thing wants to load. Come on. We're back on yet? I think we are now. Whew, I'm getting tired. Okay, let's see. Oh, very interesting weather information. Great job exposing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ooh, goodness gracious, I'm tired for some reason. Let's see if anybody's posting anything good on Twitter here. As far as these storms go. Jeez, why is my computer being so slow tonight? Like, this is... There we go. Also, in case you want to follow me on social media, here is my profile right here. I am currently at 208 followers. I would love some more. And also, I'm trying to hit 625 subscribers by my birthday. So in case you're not subscribed already, please be sure to subscribe and help me reach that goal. My end goal is I'm going to try and reach for 1,000 by Christmas. Not sure if that's a little ambitious, but it's just something I'm going to try to accomplish because that will mean that I can monetize my channel, which I would absolutely love to do, but unfortunately I have to have 1,000 for that. So please be sure that if you are not already subscribed, to subscribe and also share this channel with everybody you know to try and help me do or reach that goal. I really do appreciate it a lot. Let's see if anybody is posting anything about these storms tonight. This was 3 minutes ago. Once this computer wants to load, goodness gracious, take all the time you need, right? Is it really that blurry? Yep. This is a tornado that was trying to form south of Orleans in Nebraska. You can clearly see that there is a funnel cloud right in there. Look at this. That is not something I want to mess with right there. That is very, very dangerous. Wow, look at this. This is incredible. So this is a clear example of an anvil cloud because you've got your rotating updraft that's going all the way into the atmosphere, but then it can only go so high. This right here is the top layer of the atmosphere. So the thunderstorm tries to go all the way up as far high as it can, But then pretty much as soon as it hits the top layer of the atmosphere, it flatlines and it creates this anvil cloud right here. This is incredible. This always mesmerizes me whenever I see this. This is absolutely insane. That is awesome. Some very mean-looking clouds moving into Chapman, Kansas 22 minutes ago. Whoa. Goodness gracious, why am I so tired? Actually, what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm going to stop streaming. I'm going to go eat some dinner because I haven't eaten like all day. And then I will do my very, very best to be back on live. I'm not 100% sure if I will be, but I will do my very, very best, okay? Alrighty. Appreciate y'all joining. I'll be hopefully back in no longer than maybe 45 minutes because I'm going to go cook some pizza. Friday night, some pizza. Alrighty, y'all have a great night, and I hope to see you back in about maybe just less than an hour.